show will be the right show for the folks in white and red as NC State wins the tip and scores 4 seconds into the game with Darian Williams off the tip, won by Van Allen Lubin.
And you see Copeland picking up 94 feet, going to continue to put pressure on both ends of the floor against the Orange, who have J.J. Starling initiating the offense.
A Syracuse team that has J.J. Starling miss a layup, rebound to Darian Williams. The starting five for the Wolfpack, led by Copeland, who scoops to Paul McNeil Jr., one of the great three-point shooters in America. Most two of the guards with Trey Holloman, Williams, and Lubin. That three is good for Williams. Darian Williams, the struggling senior, as the first five.
Darian Williams, the preseason ACC Player of the Year, hasn't quite lived up to the billing when it comes to his scoring. However, he has shown a clutch gene for the Wolfpack and off to a great start here this evening.
Starting five for Syracuse, a team that struggled of late with that. Turnovers, William Kyle gives it up, and Copeland gives it right back to Nate Kings, along with Nate George, who's the Syracuse point guard, J.J. Starling. And this is the guy, Donnie Freeman, who bangs in the first two, a 19-7 player in his 11 games for the Orange.
Donnie Freeman is elite in the mid-range. Great shooting touch at 6'10". Injuries are the only thing that have held him back from being a tremendous NBA prospect.
Aaron Williams will go at the sophomore. Williams trying to use his physicality, got in a little too deep, knocked away by Kyle, tipped out to Copeland, attacking the lane, and Copeland.
That the Orange don't feel comfortable bringing the basketball off the floor. You mentioned earlier, Syracuse has been prone to turn the basketball over. It's been one of the things that's plagued them throughout this season.
And Nate George has really had turnover issues. Transfer from Georgia Tech, who runs the team. A lot of turnovers, a lot of assists. Starling deep shot clock, not a great shooter. Off the rim from deep, Trey Holloman has the rebound. Williams, McNeil can't leave him open, and Syracuse got away with an in-and-out three.
And one thing Red Archer made very clear to his team, you give McNeil no space. Anytime he's there, you run him off the three-point line.
Freeman breaks a three. Syracuse 1 for 4 to start, and here is Copeland. Eyes up, he had Williams in his sight for a moment, instead gives back to Holloman. Copeland. McNeil, same spot. Fouled, and a jam time. The start of a 3-game losing streak, and now the schedule gets really heated in the next couple of months for SU.
Yeah, when you think about Syracuse and their season, they're a few points away from this being a really great season thus far. They had Houston when they were #1 on the ropes, ended up losing that game in overtime as Darian Williams lines up another three and knocks it down right in front of the Syracuse bench.
Williams had 7 on Saturday against Pitt. He's got 8 in about 3.5 minutes. A driving Starling misses it off the back of the rim. All down by Williams with a good seal of Kyle. Williams again.
And this is where Williams has the advantage against Freeman on the perimeter.
McNeil. All 3 of his threes have come from that same spot, and it'll be Syracuse ball. Another slow start for the Orange, another red-hot beginning for NC State. Williams with 8, and the lead is 8. Earlier in the week, I had basically kicked Quadir off the team last year at McNeese for 10 days before the season. We had to work on some things, get him aligned in terms of academics, get him aligned off the court, but he said Quadir has grown incredibly in terms of his maturity over the last couple of years. Really proud of the player, the person he is now, as Freeman sticks a 3. It just seemed like one of those moves, Corey, that the transfer portal can benefit. Quadir Copeland found a new home with Will Wade, and now he's back in the ACC.
It really did. And also, Red Archer said the same thing. He said he's matured so much over the last 2 seasons. You can see it not only in his actions on the court, but when you consider what he's doing off the court, becoming more of a leader for this team, he can see the maturity that Quadir Copeland has experienced over the last 2 seasons.
A reset off the Williams offensive rebound. Freeman just hit a 3. He's got all 8 for Syracuse, and Copeland's now turned it over twice to go with 3 assists. Back to defend Starling, who has the first 2 for anybody other than Freeman for Syracuse.
And Copeland already with 1 foul, couldn't afford to pick up a second with J.J. Starling attacking the basket. But when you Quadir Copeland, of course, Jerry McNamara from Scranton, Pennsylvania, Quadir from Philly, so that's kind of in his area. But when you consider the fact that Jerry McNamara also left to go to Siena as a head coach the same time, so your guy who really was the influence behind you coming to a school is now leaving. That's often an opportunity for many guys to take off.
George out of a double team. Freeman is in trouble. George shot fake. George 3 off the back of the rim, and Kyle gets the rebound. Copeland and falling down. The corner 3 for Starling is good, and Syracuse draws within 1.
And that's been a struggle for J.J. Starling in ACC play. Hasn't shot the basketball very well from 3, only 20%, but knocks down a big one there to get Syracuse right back in the striking line.
Freeman had the first 8, Starling the next 5 for SU. Moussa Sagne, Matt Abel for substitutes for NC State. Contested 3 by Williams is short, and George flies down the floor with Kyle. Williams knocks the ball away, and it's on the floor. George can't get there. Holloman emerges.
But you see part of what the struggle has been for Syracuse. Nate George is,
Copeland with a finish.
Nate George, an elite point guard. After 2 years at Georgia Tech, coming to Syracuse, he struggled with turnovers, and you see what turnovers lead to on the other end. When you can't balance the floor defensively, it normally ends up in a highlight for the opposing team.
George on the step back, leans into the freshman Abel and finishes. Whole mass of substitutes at the table for the next whistle. Abel, Copeland. Strong drive by Abel. The official stats gave that assist to Williams, which they obviously should rectify. It will be the 5th assist for Copeland. Has he played pretty under control for you so far?
I think he has. And again, you know that he has, the emotions playing against Syracuse, but Will Wade made sure he didn't want Quadir to be too aggressive early. There he's aggressive on the ball, comes away with the strip and getting out in transition.
Freeman spiked it down to George. Syracuse a chance to run, and they don't take it. Offensive rebound to Kyle. And Copeland picks his pocket. McNeil for 3. And Kyle is out.
You got to have your head on the swivel sitting in those high-priced seats.
Maybe wear that giant puffy coat for protection if you're not sure.
Or a helmet.
A lot of fans travel to games with helmets. Holloman. Oh, dear.
Alma mater in general. As a team, they're shooting 63%.
Of course.
They're shooting 64% from the free throw line, dead last in the ACC. One of the worst teams in NCAA basketball. And those free throws have cost them wins.
Williams can't convert. Lubin stays with the Orange.
Darian Williams wants it.
For 2. You were there last night. They absolutely blasted Louisville by 31. Cardinals are still at 19. And NC State, that miraculous run of the Final Four 2 years ago, they weren't even close to the at-large conversation. They look to be firmly at-large good, and maybe even better than that this year.
Yeah, and again, when you bring in Will Wade, you have a different style of play, which right now you consider the Wolfpack lead the ACC in three-point shooting percentage. This is a very good shooting team working on what they do defensively, but they've had a strong defensive showing here to start this game.
Kings out of a timeout, brilliantly drawn up and executed for Syracuse. And Kings has hit 3s on a couple of recent possessions to draw the Orange within 4.
And now the Orange going back to man-to-man defensively. Played a number of possessions in the zone. Quadir Copeland was able to be successful distributing the basketball. Adrian Autry switching back, man-man.
Williams leads the way with a dozen. Starting 5 out there for State. Holloman along 2 is good.
Trey Holloman back from injury. starting to shake off some of the rust. And again, he was brought in really to be the point guard for the Wolfpack. But Quadir Copeland has been so good handling the basketball and distributing that Will Wade has made the move to put the basketball in the hands of Quadir Copeland primarily as the two share the backcourt.
William Kyle's got his first bucket for the Orange, purchasing all the Windex in the greater Raleigh area with 4 offensive rebounds tonight. 4-point game. Copeland off the window makes it 6, and he's got 6.
And great body control by Copeland as he continues to have conversations.
Freeman answers with a 3. 14 for Freeman in the first.
Donnie Freeman keeping the Orange in the game, knocking down the 3-ball. We talked about his mid-range jumper is elite, showing off his 3-ball here tonight as well.
Williams slaps it out to Holloman. Trey for 3.
And that's where the Wolfpack really have had the advantage over the Orange in this game, attacking the offensive glass, coming up with offensive rebounds, and it's normally the best time to shoot the 3-ball as Holloman's able to knock one down.
A deep one from Kings is off the mark. On the backboard, Betsy had it stripped off his knee. Here's George. Rubin helped alter that shot. Copeland with 1:10. Good all-around first half for Copeland, who senses a rebound, 6 assists, 2 turnovers, 2 steals for Copeland's first half, but he has not looked to be caught up in the emotions of the game. NC State's play very controlled as Copeland nearly takes it away, but Freeman flushes. Donnie on the spot with a sweet 16 in the first half.
How long have you been thinking of that one?
0.0 seconds. Holloman. Every NC State starter has hit from the field tonight. Abel has turned it right into the hands of Kings. A shot clock terminated for Syracuse, which will take a timeout.
Use to lose a timeout. Adrian Autry wants to make sure.
It's 10-2 NC State. Threatening to blow this game open early. Syracuse has hung in there the rest of the way. They get a great look early in the shot clock. Kings missed it, so did Freeman. Kyle rips away the offensive rebound, and Kyle pushes it home. Final seconds of the half. Here's Holloman in the lane, and Holloman, the former Orange guard, first 2 years at Syracuse, a year at McNeese, and now back against his old program. Though a lot of new faces since he left. NC State starts the half on defense as Nate Kings misses a 3, and nobody went for the rebound except Nate George. George just 1 for 8 in the game. His shot comes down to Van Allen Lubin. Just a 4-point game, though. NC State took a 2-0 lead and never trailed. Syracuse never tied it. Wolfpack trying to win their 5th game in their last 6 tries.
But Syracuse weathered the storm after the Wolfpack got off to a fast start. The Orange were able to fight back into this game, and that's one of the things that Adrian Autry talked to us about. He appreciates the way that his guys have continued to fight. We talked about the near losses they've had, the 1-point games, the overtime losses, etc. But they have continued to fight regardless of the scenario, and they've done so here tonight as well.
Starling just stumbled into the Orange's 8th turnover. NC State with 6. Rebounds so far. Syracuse is +3. Both these teams were out-rebounded dramatically in their last game. Syracuse by 16 against Miami. NC State by 21 at Pitt.
Allowed Pitt 26 offensive rebounds. It's absurd that you actually won a game where you gave up 26 offensive rebounds. William Powell with the other block there, one of the best in the country.
And Freeman gets the feed from George and finishes, reversing his way to 18 points, and Syracuse is within 2.
That's the gift of Nate George, his ability to push the basketball, play fast. Oftentimes he's found the wrong person finding those turnovers, but when he's on, he's one of the best in the game sharing the rock.
Williams bricks a 3, and Syracuse can tie or take the lead for the first time. Freeman wanted it on a switch against Holloman.
Yeah, he's got the mismatch in the post.
Now they try to force it from Kyle, and it's a terrible pass into a double team.
There was also some tremendous physicality by Holloman and Quadir Copeland over there, really knocking Donnie Freeman off of his spot to make sure that he couldn't catch that basketball.
Copeland into Williams. A dozen for Darian. Spins around Starling. Hands it off for a cutting Copeland.
But that's one of the things that Will Wade loves about Darian Williams. He is unselfish. He wants him to take more shots. But Williams, a legitimate playmaker as well, dropping off the nice dime to Copeland, cutting down the lane.
NC State has assisted 10 of its 15 field goals. George. Kyle against Holloman. Immediate kick for Starling. And a brick is out of the hands of Holloman, but last touch by Syracuse.
More often than not, we've seen Quadir Copeland finding Darian Williams. Well, this time it's the reverse order. The nice cut by Copeland, and Williams with great vision to find his teammate for the easy bucket.
Copeland's into double figures, joining Williams there. Now Williams, little screen, little two-man game, and a three for Darian, set up by Q.
This is the Darian Williams that we were expecting to see this season, who averaged 15.5 points per game at Texas Tech last season alongside JT Toppin. And part of the reason why he was voted as the ACC's preseason player of the year, expecting to see similar numbers on his move to Raleigh.
Starling skips it to George. Trying to get around Holloman. George. Starling again. Missed a three. Holloman got a little tug there.
After dropping off the nice dime to Copeland on the previous possession.
How do you deal with that two-man game defensively?
It's very difficult to do, and when they're at their best, it's these two guys getting the job done. Great job by J.J. Starling, and nice hands there, turning his defense, trying to turn it into offense, unable to get it to go at the rim.
Round two the other way. Holloman, triple. Not quite. George in a frenzied sequence, does not have numbers, and will score anyway.
Who needs numbers? It was one-on-one. He had full-headed steam against Darian Williams. Nice play by Nate George, attacking the rim and able to go off the glass for a much-needed orange bucket.
Copeland. Williams again. Dial in from long range, and his connection is good.
But it's a defensive miscommunication. You've got to decide whether you're going to switch or you're going to hedge that and get back. But the orange in between, allowing Williams to come up with another three.
Starling has missed 3 threes and a half now. NC State has matched its largest lead. Darian, guarded by Betsy off the bench, and a 92-mile-an-hour
gain. A lot of trust from Darian Williams by that press conference alone.
And Williams has had one of his best nights at NC State tonight. Folks heard that, but certainly still worth playing. That was from the end of last month, early in the conference against Wake Forest.
Wolfpack win. I believe the fan base is happy. And again, that's what matters most. It's about what you do to help your team win games. And Darian Williams is absolutely getting that done here this evening.
Copeland couldn't convert the finger roll. 5-point lead for NC State. Betsy had some good defense there. Back in the game off the bench as George misses a three. Lubin secures the rebound.
Syracuse had a number of great opportunities, wide open looks from three, and crucial spots where they had been unable to get him to go. As Williams makes another nice find to Ben Allen Lubin for the dunk. His third assist on the game. He and Quadir Copeland have shared the basketball extremely well.
Betsy, no. 13 assists, 18 makes for NC State now. The highest scoring Wolfpack team since 90-91. And another stuff for Lubin. Another assist for...
These are the ups and downs that freshmen go through. For Red Archery, he's got a roster full of young players who don't have the experience right now, still trying to find a way to get a win on the road.
White, 10 minutes tonight. No points, no shots, no rebounds. 1 assist. And fouls out for the second time in 3 games. Syracuse down 7. It's been all Freeman and Starling offensively, and Freeman misses badly. Rebound to Arsenault. Williams, Lubin, and Copeland have all 17 State points in the second half and quite completed. Syracuse 5 for 8 at the line. There's the freshman Matt Abel. Copeland out of the game. Williams will facilitate. Into the freshman Anthony Williams. Pass off the hands of Sagne, and Williams turns it over for the 4th time.
And that play was not built for Sagne. That was actually to Arsenault in the corner. He had a shooter. Sagne getting a hand on it, really deflected it. Most likely could have been another assist for Darion Williams. His teammate forced the turnover.
Starling, hard drive. Batted out to Abel. NC State has now turned it around a little. They're +3 on the glass.
This is a team that has struggled to rebound the basketball throughout this season, but Syracuse has struggled even more.
Abel on a slip for Sagne.
It's contagious for the Wolfpack. They're all sharing the basketball, and this is what Will Wade preaches. The ball moves faster on the pass than it does on the bounce. And he's got a number of guys that can make plays. The freshman Abel with a nice assist on the last possession.
Anthony going one-on-one. Anthony can't convert. NC State looking for its first double-digit lead. And they've got it with Arsenault set up. This season, 4th in the ACC, nearly 80 a game in conference play. Maybe a little early to go into the nickname stage.
So let me give you a little history on that. Do you know who was the ACC Player of the Year that season?
Corey Alexander.
No, I was in high school.
I have no other guesses. Anthony misses a 3. Offensive rebound. Kings. Freeman is there for the tip-in.
Nice job by Donnie Freeman going up and above. It would have been one, you just said fire and ice. It would be the ice. Rodney Monroe was the ACC's Player of the Year.
Williams turned it over. He is down as Anthony scores it. Williams comes up grimacing. And that's a heavy grimace as Darion Williams stays in the play, but NC State may take a timeout here or not.
But with all the momentum, NC State's lead is only 7 after the turnover. Kai Anthony going down, laying it up. This game is far from over as the Orange continue to fight.
Arsenault forced it, and Sagne was there to clean up the spill.
Sagne has given the Wolfpack great minutes off the bench in this game. 8 points for him, and continues to be a force on the offensive glass.
It's a new season high for the true freshman. Averaging just 2.8. Freeman. Abel mistimed his jump. Williams trying to wrest the ball away from Kings. And the call will be a tie-up arrow to
and get the layup. Wardell Copeland checks back in for Darion Williams as the Orange go back to that zone defensively.
Copeland in the middle. Copeland, Abel. Offensive rebound, Arsenault. McNeil. McNo. Sagne's got it. Copeland passes up a 3. Finds Abel after running into a brick wall. Abel to a cutting Sagne. He's into double figures for the first time as a collegiate.
But 3 opportunities on that offensive possession. The Wolfpack don't have much choice other than to score, as Arsenault and Sagne continue to attack the offensive glass.
Starling, the Siege Park for JJ, who's got 17. It's 3 off of a season high.
Adrian Autry trying to encourage his guys to come up with a stop defensively. Finish the play by getting a defensive rebound.
And Williams ready to check right back in. Sagne denied by Kyle, one of the nation's leading shot blockers, and then Sagne's deemed to have touched it.
I believe this will be challenged by Will Wade.
It was a face that might indicate a challenge. We'll see what he decides to do. This is a timeout either way with State up 9.
Of glass, which has truly helped his team here as he's into double figures now and comes up with his 3rd offensive rebound.
You were saying?
He's had so much of impact in this second half. I thought he had way more than 2 offensive rebounds, but he picks up another on the first possession of this break.
Copeland off the window, wouldn't go, and this one squeezed by Freeman. Moussa Sagne, freshman from the Gambia, with a season and career high 10 points. NC State for 14 bench points. Syracuse only 6. The Wolfpack's depth has been stronger tonight with a 9-point lead, closing in on 6 to play. Syracuse has never led. The last tie was 0-0. Starling. Very tough shot for Starling, and Abel is out of the fray with Copeland leading the pack. Abel in the corner will drive it and score it.
Matt Abel showing that he's more than a shooter. Abel trying to do the job defensively. Quardell Copeland wanted him to celebrate with him. He wanted to see Matt Abel flex a little bit.
He held the flex for about 7 seconds. Freeman. Starting seniors, so they're going to have a wealth of opportunity available next year.
And remember, Paul McNeil Jr., a sophomore as well, so you could possibly have those 2 guys back in your backcourt.
Williams, strong drive for Darian, and a 20-point game for the Sacramento-born senior.
And I think Darian's ankle is okay. After a brief rest, comes back looking healthy, attacking the basket.
That's turned over by George, his second turnover in the 10th against the Orange.
Adrian Autry having to watch the turnovers. We talked to him in shoot-around earlier today, and I asked him, is it difficult for you as a point guard who took great care of the basketball for your 4 years at Syracuse to watch the turnovers? And it's excruciating for a guy that was such a great point guard.
Abel, that was, if not on the way down, at the absolute apex by Kyle.
That is a great block. That was not on the way down. That was an elite effort by William Kyle, one of the nation's top shot blockers.
Key hops. Kyle got the block, but a couple of possessions later, Copeland hit the free throws. Copeland's 9 for 9 from the line now. He's knocking on the door at 20 points, and this is the largest lead for NC State. Kyle slippery, and there's
more minutes than anyone at the Maui Invitational. Will Wade made it very clear he did not want him having to play that many minutes. Sagne giving them great minutes. About that attempt by William Kyle.
3 quick fouls. Kyle to the line, where his shot puts it in. 49% free throw shooter.
Quardell Copeland even excited about the attack by William Kyle. And I would say that is a very different looking free throw approach. I mentioned it's the first time I've seen William Kyle live, which means it's the first time I've seen that free throw.
He and Carson Tout of Notre Dame are in a high-stakes death match for strangest free throw in the league.
Copeland! Look out below!
He's been waiting all evening for a moment of ferocity like that.
He's been waiting months for a game like this. And not his performance, but the play against the Orange. And his performance has been spectacular. Will Wade told